What if you can add the post-apocalypse look to your Blender models in minutes? In this tutorial, I'll show you exactly how to do that, first with a simple material trick to add decay, and then a scatter plugin to grow moss that instantly makes your model feel abandoned and cinematic. By the end of this tutorial, you'll have an easy, quick, and customizable setup that works on any object to create that post-apocalyptic look. So let's go. Starting with the plugin setup, we're gonna use Geo Scatter's Biome Reader plugin, and as you can see, it has a lot of these pre-made inbuilt assets and biomes which we're gonna use to create the post-apocalyptic look. I'll link this Gumroad page in my description, and we have to download both these Biome Reader and the plant library to set up this plugin. So Biome Reader is the plugin that'll help us scatter the assets and objects on any of our Blender models. As you can see it here in this quick preview, it has some inbuilt biomes as well that can be used as one-click solutions for our assets. And for the plant library, it's just a library of all these different assets that we can use to create our effect. So you can just click and add any price here if you want, and add it to your cart and download both of them. After this, you'll have this page for our Biome Reader. We're gonna download this last one, which is for the latest Blender model. And for plant library as well, they have a lot of different tutorials and documentations which you can check it out. But the files that we need to download is this one scatpack file and this .rar file for our plant library. After downloading, just put all of them in a single folder so it's easier to locate. And now we can start the installation process. So for the first one, let's go to the preference and add the Biome Reader plugin. As you can see, I've already added here, but you can go to this drop down and press install from disk. Just double click on the zip file here and the Biome Reader plugin will be added here. You can go back to your window and press the N key to check if it's available in the sidebar. Now for the plant library, you have to press right click and just extract this RAR file, and all of these files will be included in this folder. Again, going back to the preferences, go to the file path and look for the asset libraries, and here we will add the plant library. As you can see, I've added here. Just press the plus button and you have to locate the folder that we just extracted. The folder may appear empty, but we just have to click add library and the path will be selected. If you want to check it, go to your asset browser and click the plant library. All of the asset and different models should be available there to use. And you can drag drop to check if it's working correctly. The third and last thing in this installation, we need to add the scatpack file. So press N to open the Biome Reader, and using this picker tool, just select any object in your view for now. We're gonna press open biomes button here, and this panel will appear empty for you right now. The scatpack file is the info for all these pre-made setups, as you can see. So to install that, just go to the upper bar here and go to the file and then install a package. Now you can locate your .scatpack file and it'll be installed. Similarly, for the spring grass asset pack as well, it has a different .scatpack file. So just double click and install that file, and all of these pre-made setups will be available for you to use. I'm gonna create a separate tutorial covering this and how we can use it to create cool different landscapes. So let's cover this in another tutorial. Now we can add some decay material on top of our clean model here. As you can see in the material tab, we have this simple image that is adding all the color info on our model. So I'm gonna press Shift D to duplicate it and remove the image for now. We're gonna go to Google or any other image source and find a cool decay texture or some moss decay related textures, and you can download the one that you like. After that, just open it, and now we're gonna combine both of these using a simple 3-step method. So for the first step, press Shift A and add a mix color node. We're gonna use this to combine the color info of both our images here. So I just dropped it in front of our original color image and added the decay texture in the B socket. You can go through these blending modes and check which one worked the best for your image. Play around with the factor a bit, and if it's still not looking nice, you can try reversing the A and B to see how it looks. As you can see in my setup, setting it to overlay and having the decay texture on top is working nicely. I'm gonna press Ctrl T and add all these mapping node here as well, changing a scale a bit to add more of that detail and also changing the location. So just play around with all these settings to find a nice look. Now for the second step, we can press Shift A and search for RGB curves to add some color details to our texture here as well. You can make the texture a bit darker or play around with the RGB values, adding a little bit of green to give it that moss look. And finally, for the third thing, we're gonna press Shift A and add a bump node here, and we're gonna use the same image to drive the bump information in our texture. So just put it in the height map and we can control the strength to add these micro bumps or textures, which will add some details to our decay texture. You can use the same image in the roughness as well. Add a color ramp to up there and change its setting a little bit, and this will complete our decay texture that has made our clean model look a bit more abandoned and cinematic. Now let's start with the moss details. We're gonna use the plant library that we set up earlier. So now let's go to the search bar here and search for moss models, and it'll show all the moss models available in our plant library. Now in the 3D view, we can press N to open our Biome Reader plugin. Using this picker tool, select the object that we want to scatter objects on, and as you can see, there's the scatter object button available. I'm gonna press Shift A and add a random cube here to demonstrate how this button works. So after I added this cube, I'm gonna press Scatter Object and it'll automatically scatter the cube on top of our originally selected model. So this means you can use any 3D model and scatter it on your object, and it doesn't have to be just the plant library only. Now let's see how we can use the asset browser and the plant library that we just set up. So I'm gonna press plus to add a new list, rename it to be moss, and if we scroll down, we can press the add instance button here and select browser selection. So any of the model that we selected in the browser will be added here. We can scroll back up and increase its density a little bit, and as you can see, the moss asset is scattered here on our model. I'm gonna press this normal button to reset its rotation so it looks a bit better aligned. Now we can go through each button one by one. So the density, as you guess, is increasing the density of all the moss here. The collision will help us in reducing the amount of objects that are really close to each other, so you can check that out. The vertex group can be used in many different ways, so I'll go through it in a bit. The randomizer will change the orientation and position of all these moss automatically. The scale and the density are the most important to create different looks, and using this randomizer will change the scale as well. You can change how the display shows up using this active and inactive button, so you don't need to stay in render mode at all time. Using this pattern can also add different variations, so just go through these brightness and contrast buttons. You can go through all these settings and create a cool look that you like for the moss scattering on your object. Now we can see how this vertex group can be used to add more fine tuning to our model. So just turn it on and press plus to create a new vertex group. It'll automatically take you to the weight painting mode. And now you can paint on specific sections where you want the moss to appear or to disappear. If you put the weight to 0, it'll bring back all the moss details. I'm gonna press T and use this gradient mode here to create some different looks as well. Setting the option to radial and changing the weight to full, we can see it's creating this nice gradual look of moss growing from below. So you can experiment with this to create different looks as well. I'm gonna go to the render view here, and if we increase the density also, it'll just stay in the area that we selected. So this is how it looks with both the details and the decay added. You can rotate it and zoom in to check out all the details if it's working well. The decay texture that we added earlier also can be changed at any movement. Here I've updated it to a different texture and fixing its scale a bit to give it a different vibe. Next, one more thing to add is how we can add different models on top of each other. I'm gonna press plus and add a different list of flowers here, selecting it in our asset browser and add it as an instant again using the same steps. Increasing the density is adding all these different flowers, and I'm gonna fix its rotation here by setting it to normal and decreasing the scale a little bit. So you can use any amount of different models to add on top of each other, and is working like a layer system here. Lastly here, I created another list, added a different bigger moss object here, and I'm gonna experiment with creating a different vertex group on how we can blend two different objects. So going to the weight paint mode, I'm gonna have one of the moss model to be growing on just the top one and the other one to be growing in just the bottom version. Make sure to switch between these two vertex groups that we have created, and this is how the final object looks like with both these moss models added together. We can use this method to create different variation and results. And here's how the original model looks like with and without this moss scatter added on it. These same steps can be easily used to add on other different objects and models as well. So this completes our tutorial on how we can convert any simple clean object to look abandoned with moss overgrown effect. So if you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe, join my Patreon as well, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.